Today we're learning 20 professional English verbs that you need to know. Now these verbs are very common and very versatile. That means you can use them in lots of different situations. So in your professional conversations, in your emails, in your meetings, in any correspondence that you like. Let's go. First up, we have the verb analyze. Analyze. Now, analyze means to look at something in detail, to examine something in detail, to understand more about it. So, for example, you might say, we need to analyze market trends before we launch this new product. We need to analyze market trends before we launch this new product. Or let's say that you did a project and it wasn't as successful as it should have been. You're discussing the project in a meeting. You might say, we need to analyze what went wrong on this previous project before we begin the next one. We need to analyze what went wrong here before we begin the next one. Next up, we have to negotiate. Negotiate. Now, to negotiate means to discuss something formally to reach an agreement. So you discuss formally in order to reach an agreement. So for example, our team will negotiate the terms of the contract with the client. Our teams will negotiate the terms of the contract with the client. Next up, we have to implement. To implement. Now, to implement means to put something new into effect, to start doing or using or practicing this new thing. And we use this one very often to talk about a decision, a plan, a procedure, an agreement to implement. So for example, it's time to implement the new strategies we discussed in the meeting. It's time to implement the new strategies we discussed in the meeting. So we discussed these strategies and now it's time to actually start putting them into practice, to start using these strategies or following these strategies. Next, we have to facilitate. To facilitate. Now, to facilitate means to make an action or a process easier or more efficient. So when you make an action or a process easier or more efficient, for example, I'll facilitate the brainstorming session in today's meeting and generate some new innovative ideas. Okay, so basically you are taking the lead on this brainstorming session. You are making the brainstorming session easier or more efficient for your team. Much easier than just saying to them, okay, think of new ideas. They might be lost. They might not know where to start. So you are leading the brainstorming session. You're facilitating it. You're making it easier. Next is optimize. Optimize. Now, if you optimize something, it means you make the most of it. You make the best of it. You make it more efficient or more effective. And we often use optimize to talk about situations, resources, or opportunities. So for example, we need to optimize our website to improve the user experience. We need to optimize our website to improve the user experience, okay? So optimize our website just means to make it better, to make it more efficient, to make it more effective, to make it easier for our users to navigate around our site. Next, we have evaluate. Evaluate. Now, evaluate means to assess or judge something, to assess or judge something. For example, we need to evaluate the performance of our sales team. We need to evaluate the performance of our sales team. We need to assess how they're doing. We need to judge their performance, essentially. Next up, we have coordinate. Coordinate. Now, to coordinate means to organize different elements of something, to bring them together so that they work together effectively. Okay, to bring different elements together so they work together effectively. For example, I will coordinate with the marketing department to launch the ad campaign. I'll coordinate with the marketing department to launch the ad campaign, okay? Basically, I want to make sure that all the elements of this ad campaign come together and run smoothly. Next, we have prioritize. prioritize. Now, to prioritize something means to decide that this thing is more important than other things, okay? You prioritize this, you decide this is the most important thing. For example, let's prioritize these tasks based on urgency. Let's prioritize these tasks based on urgency. So in this example, we have a list of tasks that we need to complete. And if we prioritize them, we say, okay, number 1 on this list is the most important. Number 2 is the second most important, and so on and so on and so on. So prioritize something means to decide how important it is. Next is to streamline. To streamline. This is a really good one. To streamline something means to simplify a process to make it more effective and more efficient, okay? To simplify the process of doing something to make it more effective and efficient. This is a big one in business. We always want to streamline things as much as possible. For example, we need to streamline the production process and reduce costs. We need to streamline the production process and reduce costs. So maybe the production process is very slow. There's so many steps. It's complicated and it's expensive. We need to find a way to simplify it, make it more efficient. We need to streamline it. Now here's a verb that I'm sure you know, to communicate. Now, to communicate simply means to share or exchange information or news with someone, to communicate something. So, for example, it's crucial to communicate these changes to the team. It's crucial to communicate these changes to the team. So we have made some changes maybe to a process, maybe to a project, and we need to basically tell our team. So communicate is a more professional way of saying tell, okay? We need to tell them this, we need to tell them this information. We need to communicate this to our team, communicate something to your clients, and so on. Now, if you're ready to take your professional English skills to the next level, check out my Essential English for Business course. This is a self-study online course, and you will learn all the essentials you need to communicate confidently and professionally. I will link it down below so you can learn more. Next up, lead. Lead. Now, the verb lead means to be in charge or to be in command of a group, an organization, or a team. So, for example, Joe will lead this project. Joe will lead this project. Basically, Joe is in charge or in command of this project. Joe will lead this project. Investigate. Investigate. Now, investigate means to examine the details of something in order to understand it better, in order to understand the reality. So you look at the details very closely so that you can understand something. So for example, we must investigate the cause of this delay. We must investigate the cause of this delay. So maybe you had a delay with production and you don't know what happened. You need to find out more. You need to look at the details of this situation to understand why production has been delayed. Investigate. And this verb is very commonly used when we are talking about an incident or an accident or something that has gone wrong and you need to understand it. Generally, that is when you investigate. Next up, develop. Develop. Now, develop means to grow and to advance, basically to move to the next level. For example, we need to further develop the training program for new employees. We need to further develop the training program for new employees. So in this example, maybe we have a program, but it's not great. So we need to add to it. We need to take it to the next level. We need to push it forward, work on it more, improve it. We need to develop it. Next up, innovate. Innovate. Now, innovate means to think of or come up with something new. New ideas, new approaches, new concepts, new products, to think of something new, to innovate. For example, we need to innovate to stay ahead of the competition. We need to innovate to stay ahead of the competition. We need to think of something new in order to stay ahead of our competition. Next up is strategize. Strategize. To strategize means to plan the actions you need to take to reach a goal. To plan the actions that you need to take in order to reach a specific goal. For example, all right, let's strategize on how to enter new markets. Let's strategize on how to enter new markets. So, as a team, you've decided you need to enter into new markets. That's your goal. Now you are strategizing, you're basically planning the steps you need to take to achieve that goal. Strategize. Next step, collaborate. Collaborate. Now, collaborate means to work together with someone in order to produce or create something. Collaborate with someone to work together to create something. For example, we should collaborate with external partners to expand our reach. We should collaborate with external partners to expand our reach. Next up, forecast. Now, to forecast is to predict something for the future. For example, we need to forecast the sales projection for the next fiscal year. We need to forecast the sales projections for the next fiscal year. We need basically to make predictions about the sales for next year. And we have review. Review. Now, to review something in the context of business means to basically assess or reconsider it, to think about it again, to see if any changes need to be made. So for example, we will review this proposal before presenting it to the board. We'll review this proposal before presenting it to the board. So we have this proposal, we need to look at it, we need to examine it, we need to think about it and see if we have to change anything before we present it. So there you have it, 20 professional English verbs that you need to know. If you enjoyed the lesson and learned something new, make sure to give it a thumbs up. As well, don't forget to subscribe. It really helps the channel to grow and reach more English learners all around the world. Thank you for watching, learning, and spending time here with me today. I'll see you very soon in another one.